Oh no,
Matisse, you're on
Matisse,
mute.
bro, Matisse. Matisse, bro, get off mute.
Get off mute, Matisse.
Oh no, he's blagging it. He's blagging it. He's bluffing. He's bluffing.
Oh, we're not in yet or something.
No, we are.
No, we are. He's muted.
No, yeah, even everyone's saying muted. Matisse, bro, you're muted. What? All right, yo, Miz, we might have to take the show still.
Matisse, you're muted.
Matisse is in a world of his own. What's going on? He can hear us, surely.
We are going to take over.
He's bluffing. He's got to be bluffing. Now. Yeah, we are the captain.
Matisse, you're muted, God. Brother.
Matisse, my friend, you are muted, fam. Get off mute.
Oh, my days. Or you can eat Chelsea. I've been given a mad rap.
We are running the show now. Welcome to All You Can Eat Chelsea.
Matisse, we can't hear you yet. We can't hear you, bro. We can't hear you.
Just to give you guys a lowdown while he sorts out his mic or his mute or whatever he has to sort out, because he wasn't like this just before we came on. This is the show where we all talk Chelsea and we eat. I got toast. What you got, Miz?
I got nuts, pistachios.
Lovely.
Look, I had some mad intro going, and I was going to say that this is the best Chelsea. This is the best Chelsea, sort of trio that you can get. And oh man, Matisse has gone mad here. Matisse is gone.
No, we can't hear you, mate. We can't hear you. Oh my God!
What happened? Because we could hear him before.
Mate, backstage, everything was cool.
Yeah, Matisse, probably just leave and come back, see what happens.
It's his stream.
How funny would that be? His own stream, he just has to leave and come back. But yeah, guys, as I was saying, let's keep you guys entertained.
Let's do that.
Sort of giving a mad rap. Lots of people sort of DM me and message me through my tweets and stuff and say,
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, finally. Here you go. He's back.
Yeah, here, man.
Oh my days.
Oh my God. What did you do?
Bro, I don't know. I had such a great intro. I was living life, but no one could hear me.
You were just rambling on. Could you not hear us?
Bullshit. I want a whole you know what? No.
Let's redo. The fans deserve it.
I'm angry, man.
Fans deserve it.
Let's
do it again.
This is unacceptable. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, are we all good here?
Perfect.
Yeah, I can hear you fully.
Yo, I thought I was being pranked. You know what?
we were being pranked.
This just goes to sum up the week that we've had. I am absolutely fuming. Run the intro again.
Oh my God.
Take two.
Lateness is greatness, people, is what I meant to say.
This is full on Lampard lateness, man. This is unreal.
Younes actually thought that you were taking the mic. He was saying,
yeah,
bro, he's taking the mic here.
I was like, you're bluffing. You're bluffing.
I was like, oh, Younes is just playing. He's just playing. And then I seen the chat and I was like, nah, surely not. Because I haven't muted myself. And I was like, do you know what? I swear to God. I swear to God. We're not going to get a better intro than that. Younes, for the second time, God. How are you?
I'm flipping lovely now. No, I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. That was hilarious. That was a great start.
I'm going to dash this apple in the bin.
That's lined up the morning nicely. But yeah, overall, I'm lovely jubbly, mate. I hope you are too.
Yeah, and Miz, how are you, bro?
Oh man, honestly, we were given those movie vibes, like, oh, we are the captain now. We've taken over this particular ship. But yeah, no, it was good fun. It was good fun initially in the comments. Everyone was having a laugh as well. But here we are, man. Here we are.
Oh, I'm not going to edit that out in the process. And without further ado, into everything we was meant to be speaking about today. We had a game against Wolves yesterday. Obviously a 0-0, a little bit anticlimactic. We was hoping for the stars to align and everything to be perfect and us to get a win. And of course, that's what you always wish for. But it's not as easy as that. It was one day's training. I think he landed literally 24, maybe 26 hours before kickoff. Do you know what I mean? In his private jet. So it's not really possible to switch up a whole ethos. But what did you make of the first game, Younes? Just from a playing standpoint.
Yeah, man, positive. I've seen some harsh and heavy criticism from some people. I don't get it. I don't get why. This is a manager that's had 1 hour with the lads, a 1 hour training session straight after landing and getting to Cobham. Like, what more can you expect? The fact that yesterday we looked a lot more solid. We were playing against a Wolves team that was set up very low because they knew, I think had they played the Chelsea of our last few games and they knew that we were there for the taking, they would have come out. They would have come out like they did against us in the first game where they beat us, So they didn't take any chances. They know they've been a bit low on form lately, but they came for the 0-0. They parked a plane and we had chances. We had chances there to try and bury it. We almost did. But overall, we looked solid. There was a style that you could see was starting to form. Players looked like they were really trying to prove themselves. There was a lot of intensity. For now, that's all you can ask for because Tuchel's only just arrived. Let's give him time to work on the training ground now to implement his ideas fully. Even as he said after the game, he's surprised and amazed at how much the players actually picked up in that short space amount of time, and it was clear to see, especially in the first half an hour. I think afterwards we dipped off a little bit and that was probably expected. But let him work on the training ground. Let him really get his ideas across. Let the players really take it all on. And Burnley, the games after that, I'm assuming we will be seeing progress and we will be seeing us really start to develop our game. So all positive for now. All positive.
Yeah, I think before we get on to Miz, I mean, the team just was more compact, I felt. When you've got no Kante, you have to be a little bit more compact with Jorginho and Kovacic. I like the way that he switched up the formation. You had Callum Hudson Odoi coming in. Yeah. Miz, what did you make of it? Because there was like that starting 11 and obviously it was leaked before, I think, because Chelsea posted on Instagram the little 3 at the back formation in the background of the picture. Everybody, I don't know how everybody knew to start 11 before it came out. I don't know if that's good for opposition in the future. Maybe keep it a bit more quiet. But what did you make of it?
Man, I honestly didn't. When I first looked at the lineup, I didn't even think it was a 3-4-3. Like, I had no idea. I thought it was a standard 4-2-3-1, and I was sort of thinking, that's going to play as a 10. Kind of made sense. And then when the game started, I was like, what is going on here? Like, Callum Hudson Odoi was more of a playmaker, playing further on the right side. It was interesting to see. There's a lot of good pictures out there. Chelsea Hour is one of them that has one of these graphs that showed Chelsea's formation was more sort of like on the right side. So without the ball, it was literally just Azpilicueta. Sorry, with the ball, Azpilicueta was really a right back, and Callum Hudson Odoi was more of a right winger. But without the ball, it was more the whole 3 at the back, 5 in the midfield sort of situation. So it was really good to see. I think the biggest factor that we can all take out of all of this, obviously, it was a far improved performance from our past whatever matches, I think for about 2 months. I saw a lot more improvement, 100%. But the thing that really struck me is post-match, the way Callum Hudson Odoi was talking, I had my eyes like, well, this lad, after just one session, is dropping so much tactical knowledge. And I'm like, what's going to happen if this guy sticks around, under Tuchel for at least a month? You're going to see he'll probably get a whole whiteboard out. He'll start playing. This is what we were trying to do. Honestly, that was really good to see the kind of information and he was dropping a few hints there. I'm not sure if you guys caught that. He was saying, Tuchel was telling me at times you can't take them on one-on-one. Look for that pass. And I felt like maybe he was having a dig at the previous manager, perhaps, where sometimes he must have said, express yourself, go out and express yourself. And he was probably put under pressure to take on his man. And sometimes you can't. And you need to find that pass. So it's interesting that Tuchel gave him that license to do that. But it was also good to see that how Callum Hudson Odoi absolutely smashed Semedo in the second half. There was one particular dribble, how he took him on and went around him. That was really good to see. So overall, I'm happy, man.
Before I expand on Hudson-Odoi, because there's going to be a whole real segment on that, because I feel like if there's one thing we can take from that game, is there is something special happening at Chelsea between Tuchel and Hudson-Odoi. But without stealing the line, but I'll steal it. Do you know what I mean? It was interesting as well. The starting 11 was very experienced in terms of, there was a lot of old names in there. There was Alonso coming back onto the bench. There was many old names and old faces that, a lot of Chelsea fans thought were in the rearview mirror, and now they're back into the fold. And I think that was a hint that potentially, I don't know, the reports of the last couple of weeks did have a hint of truth to them, in the fact that, everyone does need to be pulling in the same direction. Everybody does need to be back on side. Because Tuchel just in the instance of Billy Gilmore, people are not happy that Billy Gilmore could be potentially going out on loan. Unfortunately, he's the one that's paid the least out of the three midfielders between him, Georgie and Kova. There is politics that plays a part, and he may be the more suited player. He may be the player that Tuchel could develop and turn into something great. But in the short term, you need Jorginho and Kovacic back on side. If they weren't already, because the season is not over and we have to finish the season with these players. So I mean, we have to get in. We have to get into it. I'm not even going to wait for the people to address it, because I feel like part of the starting 11 is part of what we've been talking about for the last week, which is the articles and whatnot. Before we kick on to more of the fun stuff. The articles that have been coming out over Rudiger, who started, and a group of other players. What did you guys make of it? Because obviously it's all been concluded now. This is the first time we're getting to speak on it, because obviously last week was hell. Last
was madness.
You know what's funny? Last week when we spoke, we thought that Lampard had been given 3 more games, and it was a whole different world. So Younes, what's been your take on all of this?
It's been chaos, man. Absolute chaos. And we've spoken privately about what's been going on and all of that. But yeah, since the last time we spoke, literally, it's like Chelsea Football Club has been burned down and has been looking to be rebuilt, and there's flames everywhere. And Tuchel's come in with one little fire extinguisher to try and sort it all out. It's been mad. And the reports that have come out, when it came out, I was concerned. Initially, I was concerned because you hear it from names where, these guys have gotten things a lot right in the past. These are guys that you normally look at and go, flipping out, that's reliable. But I was skeptical because I stepped back, and especially the Rudiger one. I'm going to focus on the Rudiger one. Rudiger having clashes, say, with Aspie at training, that happens. I've got no issue with that. That's life. Any football club in the world, all the way down to pub football, will tell you arguments happen, heated arguments kick off. There's always clashes, but players move on. They realize they work together, they train together, they play together. They put it behind them and they get on. It's standard, And if there's none of that, it means that players don't really care. So I'm kind of glad that there is some sort of stuff happening, but as long as it's not crossing the line, then cool, that's normal. But I'm going to put that to a side because that doesn't really concern me. The concern that I read was in regards to him apparently bullying younger players, and him being one of the guys apparently to go and try and get Lampard sacked, actively trying to get him sacked. I looked at that and I thought, I've got a problem with both, because I remember Hudson-Odoi speaking very highly of Rudiger. I remember just days before that allegation come out, Mason Mount done an interview online and was speaking and joking about Rudiger. Tomori, when he left to AC Milan, called him uncle, as he always does, always calls him uncle. Tammy Abraham, then we saw after the reports come on Twitter and saying this is what's going on. This is ridiculous. What I'm reading on social media. He's like a big brother to all of us. I'm more inclined to believe all of those than a report. And when I flip it and I look at the allegation he was trying to get him sacked, He played against Fulham, and then he played against Leicester in a game where we know Lampard knew his job was on the line. You know, if you're having a fully fit Zuma there, who is your main centre back, and you're going to pick a man that you know is causing problems amongst the squad and actively trying to get you sacked, if that is the case, why are you going to play him 90 minutes in a game where your job depends on it? You know, I said this yesterday.
It wouldn't be the first time I was confused.
I said this yesterday on another stream.
It's funny when you put it that way, Younes. It's so funny when you put it that way.
It's mad. It's like I said it on another stream yesterday. It's like a head chef, you know, who is seeing, you know, lack of customers coming in. The food isn't that good. He's got pressure from the restaurant owner. His job's on the line, but he knows his problem is the sous chef. Right? And he knows his time is about to come to an end. He knows that the food needs to improve drastically. If not, he's going to get fired as the head chef. So he goes, instead of changing the sous chef, I'm going to go to him and say, all right, mate, look, I'm relying on you tonight, yeah? Deliver me good. Like, it's bonkers. You don't do that. You have to change immediately. So I don't get how Rudiger was such a problem if he played 90 against Leicester, and you can see that all these allegations come out now. Why wasn't this said before? If he was a problem, why wasn't it said before?
This is brilliant, because the fan base was very 50-50 on this. I feel like this live stream is going to show both sides of it, because me personally, I was way on the other side because of what I was being told, and I think Miz was way on the other side as well from the beginning, was just like no, and you were 50-50. You kind of like sat back and was like, hold on a second, what's going on? So we've got a good balance here. What I was told, and like I said, I treat these sources so seriously. When the allegation is this big, I'm thinking to myself, these are grown adults. Like, there's no way they're going to put their careers on the line with fake allegations. So I always felt like the more serious it is, the more there must be a hint of truth to it, right? Because why would you put your whole journalistic career on the line for a bullshit story? I don't believe. I know it's popular right now to not like the two journalists. Everybody knows who they are. Well, one fan type-ish journalist and one full-time journalist in Matt Law. I know it's very popular right now to hate them. However, I was shocked that I don't believe that they would just make up something out of thin air like that. For me, that is just I would hope not. That's wild. Do you know what I mean? And I always say to people, before you get onto just the names that maybe put it out, think about it logically as well, as the fact that these guys have sources. They get their information from somewhere, right? So they don't just, for me, they don't just make up stuff out of thin air. So who do they talk to? Who does Matt Law talk to? Who does Carefree Youth talk to, right? They talk to young players. They have, you know, Carefree Youth 100%. Everybody should know that he has contact with players. He has contact in the club. For me, if you even understand a little bit of what goes on, you should be able to tell that that's quite obvious. Matt Law, if you want to not even listen to that, Matt Law, you should 100% know that has contact to the likes of Jody Morris, etc. So where did they get this news from is what I'm concerned about. You said about, you know, before we just shoot the messenger, who is below that feeding them the information? Because Matt Law 100% has contacts with the staff at Chelsea or some very big source in Chelsea. So it's very much shoot Matt Law, but who is under that giving you that news? Absolutely. And you talk about timing of release. These guys all have press passes to protect. They all have, you know, they all want to be loved by the club so they can continue reporting. It's a job. So they're not going to release that stuff when Lampard's here. I'm not surprised about the timing at all. I think, you know, similar to any of the other stuff that we saw from the Athletic about Lampard potentially not having time. You know, if he was to get on a bad run, the Athletic knew that in-house, but they could never release that during the season because, God forbid, that's just terrible. Do you know what I mean? You have to always keep that stuff until the end. So it's very interesting. Do you know what I mean? There's so many sides to it, and I'm not gonna lie. You know, from what I saw on Twitter, it did look a little PR-ish, if I'm being very honest. You know, I know that you're gonna disagree massively, but when I see a tweet, not even bang, and then another caption, quote tweet, bang, and then the club like it, bang, drop. I don't even know if Drogba even understands what's going on, but it did feel it did feel a little bit like, hold on a second. And by the way, I don't condemn it. I think it's a fantastic thing that they come out and do it, because regardless of what, you know, sources were telling me and whatnot, like I said, I deleted the tweets immediately. But it's good to see unity, because 100% everything that regardless of what we all think went on, we're never going to find out you know, we're never going to be told, because even if it was true, no one from the club would come out and publicly say that when Rudiger's part of the future plans, and we need unity going forward anyway. So it doesn't really matter. When the first game kicks off under Tuchel, you kind of just have to put it to bed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, the PR thing that you mentioned, I agree. I agree to an extent. I think that there's two ways of looking at it, and Liam Toomey put it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that think it's Chelsea Football Club telling the players, "Oh, no, you got to tweet, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that, quick, PR, you know," and it's like some big operation. No, I do think it came from the side of, as Liam said, where the players have realized how dangerous this could get if no one speaks.
Yeah.
And Tammy then came out of the tweet, you know, saying this is unbelievable, this is nonsense. But had he not said that, that speculation would have kept riding, and it just would have gone to another flipping level. Let's have it right. So I think it was from the sense of the players going, we've got to say something here, because this is we know that this is nonsense. Yeah. So let's say something. And then everyone backs everyone, which is good to see. But yeah, I think it's definitely a PR in terms of that case, the players agreeing maybe amongst themselves, we got to talk, rather than the club going, Tammy, tweet. Didier, get on the phone. Retweet what Tammy did. Like,
and also, whatever happened is probably squashed. Do you know what I mean? They're all grown
absolutely.
Adults. So whatever happened, like I said, I think potentially, I'm very like torn in 50-50, because I do feel like it has been over dramatized, potentially for clicks. And what another point I want to make is that my feeling towards this is slowly, you know, come straight into 50-50 and more balanced into what you're saying, Younes, particularly because of the way the journalists are acting since Tuchel's been appointed, which we're going to get into very quickly with Miz, which I'm really pissed about, to be honest, because I just think it's very similar to how they acted under Sarri, and it's making me lose confidence in them extremely quickly because it's showing a lot of bias. So, you know, I think it was over dramatized for clicks. I do think there's a hint of truth to it. Because I don't think they're just going to make up anything. I think Matt Law definitely has connections to Jody Morris, to staff, and to, you know, so I 100% feel like there's some sort of news come through leakage-wise there, and they've maybe played up to it, but also that it is squashed and that the players were probably like, yo, this is not even relevant anymore. As you would say in any workplace, this is not even relevant anymore. We need to move on. Miz, what do you think about it all?
Bro, I'm going to paint a picture for you guys, and for shout out to the 733 people that are on. Smash that like button first of all. Get it up to at least 700. I want to paint a picture, guys, and I'll let you decide what you think, right? Yeah. I started doing football Twitter alongside with Matisse. Obviously, Younes was an OG from way back in since 1960s. But you know, I started Twitter from the Sarri days, right? And I saw how some of these journalists were playing their game at that time, right? And maybe at that point I didn't understand completely. I definitely understand it now, going through the whole Frank Lampard situation now with Tuchel. I'll give you guys a perfect example. It was a Watford game. We were going for top 4 under Sarri, right at the end of the season, and Gary Cahill interview dropped literally 30 minutes before the lineup, where Gary Cahill had let go of all of his emotions towards Sarri, and he just painted Sarri as the worst person there was. And I started questioning, Matt Law, why would you do that 30 minutes before a very, very big game against Watford, where we need unity in the fan base to get together and make sure that we are in the top 4 and we're in the Champions League next season? I mean, it didn't matter at the end. We ended up winning the Europe and we were automatically into the Champions League. But I just found it strange that he had all of that information, right? And he strategically just kept it for that particular moment. Now, fast forward a little bit. Obviously, Dan Levine had another one during that season where, there was apparently a bust-up between Higuain and David Luiz just before the Europa League final. They were trying to cause a lot of tension in the fan base. Once again, trying to say that Sarri has lost the dressing room just before the final. But what happened? We ended up winning, and Higuain and David Luiz were having a mad party afterwards.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward all of that, you come to the Frank Lampard situation. You think these clashes between Rudiger and Azpilicueta or whoever else, that didn't happen throughout the season? How convenient is it that once Frank gets sacked, that these news come out? You know, why weren't these news sort of given to us throughout the season? I find it so hard to believe that Rudiger started clashing with Azpilicueta, 2 or 3 weeks just before Frank Lampard got sacked. I don't buy that. And just going back to what Younes was saying, clashes between players happen in every football club. Every football club. I'm pretty sure it will happen in Tuchel time as well. So, that's no news for us. What angers me in the whole Matt Law's article, and once again, I want to clarify, and you guys can tell me, the Athletic did not name drop anything about Rudiger. I read the whole Athletic thesis. It did not mention anything about Rudiger. It did mention about players, fringe players that were them causing trouble. Now, I don't know what trouble really means. The word trouble is so loose, you can interpret it the way, whatever you want to interpret. You can call it bullying.
The menace.
Yeah, that's trouble. Do you know what I mean? And Frank said it. You guys know it very well. After every match or even pre-match, he said it many times. I cannot keep everyone happy. Frank said it himself. I can't keep the whole squad happy. So what do you want me to do? Do you know what I mean? There are going to be some disgruntled players, right? So he wasn't hiding that fact. And going into the whole bullying factor, and this is where I did that video that, a couple of days ago where I was just furious because branding a player a bully and he's picking on the youngsters. Have a look at some of our youngsters. They're starters and Reece James is a beast. Who's going to bully him, number one? Tammy Abraham looks like he can very much handle himself. Mason Mount, well-trusted, big figurehead in our club. Yeah, why would you even dare to bully someone like that? If anything, Billy Gilmour is probably the only one that you could possibly bully. But then again, why would you want to bully Billy Gilmour? Look how cute he is. Like, was there to bully him? Do you know what I mean? So I cannot buy this. So, and I agree with you, Matisse, that there may be some truth. I'm not denying the whole thing. There may be some truth.
Sure.
But I think Matt Law put some nice little, salt and pepper and some more ingredients. He spiced it up a little bit. You know what I mean? And yeah, look, and that's where my frustration is. And going now to Tuchel era, surprise, surprise, Matt Law, same backline we had against Fulham, he didn't give us any age verification. Yeah. And the first thing he tweets under Thomas Tuchel, the combined age of the backline is 94 years. First of all, what does that even mean? How is that even relevant? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you have nothing...
Do you know what it is? It's once again, these guys, again, we talk about timing, and you spoke about timing there. Taking advantage of the algorithm, as they say. You know what I mean? They're just like YouTubers. They're just like, guys who create content on Twitter or for podcasts. Yeah. Timing is key, ladies and gentlemen. True. And if you're going to drop an article, of course, you're going to wait until the man is gone, so you can release the Athletic were very timely. They were never going to release a thesis on Christmas Day. They were going to wait until it was all done. And then you release the thesis because that's what people want. They want explanations. They don't want disruption during the season, people to lose their press passes. But again, the way that they act, and this is where I want to push on to the, and I think we've represented the way the fan base feel really well because everybody's got different opinions and we've kind of addressed everything there. But one thing I think is unanimous is the fact that there is a clear bias against foreign managers when they come into this club. We've seen it with Sarri, we've seen it with Tuchel now, where the mood and the attitude just changes. Suddenly, the way that we see things is all negative from the journalists when we're tweeting during football matches. I've seen it from Nizar, I've seen it from Matt Law, and I've seen it from Simon Johnson. Ridiculous. And again, I didn't see this type of propaganda when Chelsea lost 4-0 to Manchester United on Frank's first day with a whole pre-season behind him. However, when Tuchel flies in on his private jet one day before the game, suddenly we've got negative thoughts and we can't look objectively. So these are the reasons as to why, like I said, in the last, I was coming over anyway, but I'm more and more just coming over to the middle ground because I don't like the way that these journalists behaved. And like I said, I think there is a hint of truth in it because the allegations are so serious that I think
100%.
when I know these two people, one more personally than the other, I know they have direct links to some players. So they do you know what I mean? Someone's fed that. Someone has to have fed that information to them. I always want to look behind the name that's the messenger, so to speak, because I feel like someone, whether it be I'm not going to just reel off names because I don't know who it is, but someone has fed them information from the club. So that's why I bring that point up. But the way that they act with this new manager, for me, is just ridiculous. It's disrespectful on so many levels. So, yeah, I mean, we're in saying that we've covered all of that. I think we've bundled that all up. Like I said, people, this channel's all about giving you all perspectives, and we've done that very well here. Make up your own minds, but regardless, we move on into the future with Chelsea in a great light. My mood has never been more positive. I think after it's all got to do with Tuchel's interviews. He's just so
Oh man,
bro, the guy's got so much venom in his talk. Like I feel like the way he said that, I'm going to make this team. I'm going to make this team that everyone fears. Like, I felt I got goosebumps listening to it. I'm like, man, I think I'll be your team now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm scared of your team.
Oh man,
it was impressive. The way he says that, he literally came out, boys, and he said, this team's good enough to win the league. This team should be winning the Champions League. And then he goes on to say, realistically, this season, probably it's not within the range because I've literally just come through halfway and we're far away from the leaders. But he was having a laugh. He was like, this team should be winning the league. Like, there's no two ways around it.
He has charisma. I want to go
charisma's through the roof.
Real quick, but we're definitely going to get onto that in big depth here. Shout out to Younes for the mature approach to the Rudiger nonsense. Some others were quick to make him the target man on Chelsea Twitter. And I think another point that Miz said really well privately to us is that regardless of what's true or what's not, this is not the sole reason Frank Lampard was sacked.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so much going on. You know, we spoke about it in the last show, not speaking to players for months. That doesn't help. So if that's true as well, do you know what I mean? If you're going to believe it, you have to believe it all. So there's multiple reasons, and obviously for me, he just wasn't doing good enough as manager after that Leicester game. I was like, it's not going to work out. I Test Merchant heard it was like Rudiger rough challenge on the youth. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, he clamped Billy Gilmore in training, didn't he?
and then things just spiraled out of control from there. Do you know what I mean?
Mount found it funny. Mount spoke about it and found it hilarious, but
honestly. We're going to get into Tuchel because, like I said, Tuchel's comments, and then we're going to get very much into Hudson-Odoi and Tuchel. But Tuchel's interviews after, but even before the game, I thought, starting from the beginning, you know, I think his first interview, he said that this is the most unfair lineup I'm going to have to pick at Chelsea. Yeah. I really like that because, again, it's all about unifying, pulling in the same direction, and nobody in the squad, regardless of if you feel like you should start or you shouldn't, can argue that. Do you know what I mean? It is the most unfair lineup he's ever going to have to pick. Very much a lineup that was just really done very quickly. You know, you have to really go back to the basics. Be compact, 3 at the back, no Kante, so you go with the double pivot, but you keep the space in between the lines a little bit closer, and you do go with experience because not only with the nonsense that's been going on over the week, but also the experienced players need to play a massive part in this season if we are to get over the line. It's all well and good saying that, you know, these guys are not good enough and rare-tear. The fact of the matter is that we sit 10th in the league and they haven't been involved. So, do you know what I mean? Regardless if you rate them or not, and I don't rate some of them, but for the short term, we may need them. Younes, what have you made of his quotes, man? Because everyone's just melting their hearts out over the quotes. What's your favorite quote?
What's your favorite quote?
Honestly, I love he oozes confidence in what he says. You know, I feel safe when I listen to him. I feel secure. I feel confident. You know, I can just tell he knows. I can just tell he knows what he's talking about, and he knows that he knows. You know, it's like the confidence in the way that he speaks. He's very objective. He's saying exactly everything clearly, clear as crystal. And in terms of his charisma, it's through the roof. You know, it's early days, and I don't want to get too carried away. And I said you should never base this on sentiment, but my gut instinct is telling me this charisma and the confidence in his words, and how calm and soothing he is with you can just see his tactical instruction, what he plans to do with the players in this team. I want to say we haven't had someone of that charisma since probably a prime Jose. You know, it's going to be interesting. You know, we'll see the next few games and we'll see what happens. You know, I just feel that even the players, after one training session, already have an idea of what Tuchel wants. You know, and you saw it on the touchline yesterday. I mean, how flipping animated and how clear and concise was he with some of the lads, Hudson-Odoi, with Chilwell, with Azpilicueta. clear instruction.
And he was sending messages. He was sending messages throughout the game. Like he was calling him over. I want to give some messages.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of when you take the tactical aspect and you put that to the side, just him and his what he was saying before the game, his interview for Chelsea, his interview for BT. It's clear he has a plan. He has an idea in his head, right? And it's there, and he knows how he's going to implement it. We just got to give the time on the training ground for him to do so. But it's nice to see his passion. It's nice to see his winning mentality. It's nice to see that he really believes in this squad, and he's very happy with the players that he has. He already has a relationship with quite a few. But overall, you can see how happy he is to be at Chelsea. You can see how proud he is to be Chelsea manager. Yeah. And he made that clear. The guy had a massive smile on his face throughout the whole interview when he was being interviewed by Lee Parker for the Chelsea app. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased. I'm happy for him. He did say his life literally turned upside down in the space of 72 hours. But he's buzzing, and I think that's going to reflect on the players. He's even said that he knows how to get players on side and how to get everyone playing together, get that squad mentality and make it a winning one. I'm buzzing to see what he's going to do. Yeah, I love listening to what he says, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, do you know what it is with him is that I feel like, and it's very early days, and I'm very self-aware. I understand what's going on. I'm in the honeymoon period. He swept me off my feet. We're going out on dates. It's all looking rosy. Everything's looking good. He's paying for the meals. He's doing it all. But when the going gets tough and it gets sticky, will he be able to keep it consistent for the hard times? That is what it's all about, people. But I'm just going to allow myself to fall in love with Tuchel. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's just, right now, we're all on the same train. It's Thomas the Tank Engine to Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? That was good. I haven't done wordplay.
That was good. That
I've been so drained and tired. I haven't done wordplay in a while. I think that was, if you clip that, people, that was good. but do you know what I mean? We're all just going in this sweep of emotion, and this is what football's about. People say don't get carried away. That's what football's about, man. It's about emotions. It's about getting carried away. If you don't enjoy moments like this before it goes to shit in 18 months when we start having beef again, then what's the point?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
If that is the cycle, then yeah, screw it. Screw it.
Hopefully he wins the title first, so I have something to take from the situation before it goes to shit.
Yeah,
But do you know what I mean? I think so far it's been a really good blend of both worlds, because not only is he going to play attacking football, not only is he a progressive manager and all these things as well, which is what we want to see, but he's also come with that really early energy we saw from Frank Lampard at the start of his tenure. Buzzing around. We saw the detail that he's going into in training in terms of he's very active on the training field, very active on the bench. He's a lot of emotion, and he had a really great quote about the Christmas presents and how Christmas kind of came late for him, but he finally got the present, which was Chelsea. And I was like, oh Jesus Christ,
just take me,
Miz, what do you make of all this? This guy's the words is just ridiculous, bro.
Man, like both of you guys have said, it's early days, so it's only natural that you get gas, but at the same time, we've got to stay cool. But a few things I want to point out. We've always admired the way Frank spoke, and Frank definitely spoke really, really well. Tuchel not only speaks well, I feel like his words, there's a venom, like he's trying to tell you something, he's trying to put a fear on the opposition. He's trying to plan something that do not dare, that we are weak. We are going to come back. And, even post-match, when he was talking about the match in itself, he got into the details. He started saying that I wanted my players to, press in a certain manner. I wanted to win the ball back quickly in certain areas. I wanted the midfield to do this. I wanted Callum to do that. It was so refreshing to hear that kind of stuff, because as a fan, I don't know about the rest of you guys out there, but I love hearing that kind of stuff from a manager, because I want to see, in a footballing wise, what was he trying to do, as opposed to just simply tell me, we were doing this and doing that, like keeping it very, very vague. So, I really, really liked that about Thomas Tuchel. And man, look, honestly, the way, the other factor that I really like, and I want to touch on what Younes was sort of saying, is I think he's very grateful. He's seen this team and the caliber of players that he has in his artillery. The way he talked about Kante, guys, how he said, I've wanted Kante for years. and now I have him in my team. This guy, look, I'm swear to God, I reckon he probably goes to training and he sees all these names in front of him, and he must be like, "Oh my God, I'm hard. I'm really hard now. This is the team I wanted. This is the team I wanted." So, this guy's going to do madness. Honestly, this guy is going to do madness, and it's not going to be any more excuses that we need this and we need that player. We're sure we don't have him. We don't have, Rice, so on and so forth. I think this guy's going to do the job. He's going to look at the team and he's going to say, "I've got everyone. I'm going to win the title."
Do you know what I like about, like you said, he speaks about titles and he's also speaking with intent. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's very much like, listen, we want to be feared. And like I said, it could all be buzzwords and I could just be getting swept off my feet, but I'm just going to just roll with it. I'm rolling with it. Do you know what I mean? If you have a partner, people, you always put trust in them until they fuck it up. And then when they fuck it up, cool. Then you can, so apology for the swearing. I know a few dads have been getting onto me in the comments. It gets like that sometimes, okay? I can't always promise we keep it PG. I try. But, you don't call someone a liar before they've lied to you. Do you know what I mean? You always give faith. You always give trust. Allow yourself to be weak. And then if it comes to the point where he's lied to me, then we can talk about it. But he's talking about titles. He's talking about, trying to, go with intent and beat teams. And he's not making, he's not saying we have to wait or any of this stuff. I feel like he does understand the quality, like you said, that he has in this squad. And I feel like that has been downplayed so much, is that we don't have this or we don't have that. So many excuses in the fan base of we need a DM. And 100%, I've always said we do need some things. Every team in the world needs things. Manchester City could do with some strikers potentially. However, they don't make excuses. And that's what I like. I like the intent. I like the fact that hopefully he's going to take responsibility as well for his decisions. And I'm looking forward to all of that. Just to blast through some super chats as well. Let's see what you man are saying. Sorry, I haven't addressed the chat too much. Usually we do this big like embrace together in the chat, and I call out your names. But as you can see from the start of the show, it was a little bit ropey. It wasn't exactly how I planned, so I'm kind of just going off script. But I test merchant, my guy with a super chat here. He say, will he pick players on meritocracy? I mean, no one can tell. No one knows, because the one thing I can't do is criticize the starting 11 that really he had, less than 24 hours to put together. Do you know what I mean? So I can't.
Can I quickly just answer that, Matisse? Can I just quickly answer that? That I test, man. First of all, really good question. I think, and this is, I don't know what you guys think, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I feel like he will have a settled back line and possibly a settled forward line. I think he's going to rotate a lot in the middle. So the whole thing about merit, I think it may be based on who the opposition is. So it might not always be about merit here with him. I feel like he will look at the opposition and he'll go, I don't think in this particular match I'm going to use Kante because I need someone who can hold the ball. So I'm going to use that. And you guys might think that, oh my God, how did Kante get dropped? He doesn't deserve to get dropped. I think he's going to look at the opposition and base that midfield, because a lot of the game gets decided in that midfield, guys. Honestly, like, we've been getting destroyed in the past 2 months because there was no midfield. We were just going on the sides and we're trying to, the game plan was like this and like that. It was a massive hole in the middle. So, be ready to see Mason Mount probably not playing every single game. He may play, 2 or 3 games, then get sort of benched because of the type of opposition. Or sometimes we may see Kovacic, Jorginho, sometimes we see Kante. So be open to all of that.
One thing we know about Tuchel as well is that we know he's flexible between formations, and that formations don't necessarily dictate the tactics. We spoke about it last week with Nagelsmann and Conte. Both play 3 at the back, but both approach the game very differently. I'm talking about Conte at Chelsea, not Conte at Inter. I have no idea what's going on out there. 1 minute Lukaku and Ibrahimovic are beefing. Next minute there's red cards. I don't know. I'm not here to talk about Italy. But my point is that Nagelsmann and Conte will play, similar formation and approach the game completely differently. So it's not a situation of formation dictates tactics, style of play. We should know that. We should know that. So, and also, very important point is to make is that we shouldn't judge the manager of what we judged the last manager, because they're not the same person.
Exactly.
They're not the same person. So Lampard, the reason why we screamed meritocracy is because that's what he stood for. That's what he told us. When we saw players pick up in form, Giroud scoring the 4 goals against Sevilla, he played next game. It was very much you play with what is warranted in terms of meritocracy. That was what was drilled into our brains. Players play due to training, due to meritocracy, working hard, etc., etc. Tuchel's not said that to you, and Tuchel's going to be flexible with the players. He's going to rotate a lot. He said that. Well, people that have studied him have said that he's going to be flexible within systems. So I'm not going to judge Tuchel by the same handbook that I judge Frank, because Frank had different things that he told us, different objectives, different standards and different things that he wanted to bring to the team. Same with Sarri. Would never have judged Sarri on trying to implement youth, because that was not his main criteria, etc. You see what I'm saying? So it's everybody gets a different criteria, but you try and judge them fairly along the way regardless. I think with
Tuchel, and there was a video done by Newman. If you know Newman, he done a very, very good video, and in that video there was an interview that was done by Tuchel in Germany quite a while back. I think when he was probably at Dortmund, but he spoke about his philosophy, his approach to things. And you're right, Miz, in saying that he does base a lot on the opposition. He does base what I think his base and his foundation is to get the squad united and to get everyone feeling they are a part of something special, a part of the group. And then from there, he will utilize the players with certain attributes based on the opposition that we're coming up against. So everyone will play a part. The lineups will change. I feel like he's going to have a core, and then he's going to be either changing the formation and changing a couple of names, or keeping the same formation, but obviously bringing in a couple of other names based on the attributes that they possess. Obviously, going against the opposition that we're coming up against. So, I think what Tuchel is going to do is obviously just try and keep everyone on the same page first. And then for them to understand that you ain't going to play every week, but you're an integral part of the squad. And I'm going to need you, and I'm going to need every single one of you. And I think that is going to be the strength of life under Tuchel. So, let's see how it all goes. But it's a very good philosophy. And in the Premier League, you need to base at least a portion of your game based on who you're going to be up against, based on the opposition, because the opposition is always changing, and the Premier League is harsh. You saw like yesterday, Sheffield United going to Man United and winning 2-1. It's bonkers. Bro. You need to base life on the opposition at times, and you can't just base it on we're going to do this our way and that's it, and because they're going to find ways to beat you. So
bottom of the table versus title challengers, Ollie's Tricky Rex.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
at Old Trafford, like
away from home.
Bro,
away from home. But
when I seen that, I said anything's possible. Anything.
Literally, Sheffield United are the worst performing team in the history of English top flight football.
Oh, really? Worse than Derby County? Robbie Savage and Petrov with the halfway line goal, and really Derby County. Because you guys remember that season, Derby was shocking. and if it wasn't for the dads in the comments, I would have said something wild there. But I kept it to shocking. Seriously.
Literally,
Not Derby were awful.
Derby were pants at that time. Terrible. But and they've gone to Man United and won 2-1. So if there's any season where it makes even more sense to base your gameplay on the opposition, it's this season. And Tuchel is about that life. So it's exciting. It's exciting. What another good thing that Tuchel's done is he's brought analysts with him.
Yes. Go for it.
His coaching staff, his trusted number 2 used to be a defensive midfielder. So that is great news. In terms of our midfield, that's fantastic. But he's been with him since Stuttgart, before Mainz. They've been together for ages, and he's brought himself a data analyst. So, he's going to be getting all the information that he's been getting at PSG, at Dortmund, and all of that, except this time in the Premier League, based on other Premier League sides. It's going to get tasty because I think the team and these players are going to be receiving information that they haven't even heard ever before. They're going to be given sound bites, and they're going to be given info that they're going to look at and go, flipping out. I didn't know that. I think they're going to be really, really, really excited about it all.
I reckon, honestly, I feel like, how, Matisse, you're one of those people that always talk about the German efficiency, right? I think we're truly going to see in the sense that I feel this guy is going to grab these, players and get all the emotional feelings sapped out of them and throw it out and turn them into absolute machines. I feel like he's going to give them the mentality to be ruthless, whether it's Burnley, whether it's Man City, whether it's prime Barcelona. You treat every single team with that same ruthlessness. It doesn't matter. And I feel like we shouldn't see complacency under this guy, because this guy literally, I feel he's just going to change the mood. He's going to turn them into monsters. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I just felt like over the last couple of months, our players had lost that touch. It was just, against Arsenal, Chilwell's hugging, and against Leicester as well, Chilwell's hugging the players and everything after the match. And it's all lovely jubbly, as Younes would say. But, I just want that ruthlessness back in our team, where opposition just really hates meeting us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also, I just feel like, maybe, having, again, we talk about Frank because this is the first time we're speaking about him since he was sacked. So, people, we won't hear about it next week, but obviously it's very, very relevant to what we're talking about right now. Potentially as well, him being so attached to the club emotionally wasn't always the best thing, because we saw on the touchline, he was very down, and he was very, sad about, and he was not very proactive and not very energetic on the sideline, because we was going through such a hard run of form. You look at Klopp, Pep, the consistency and the standards never really drop, apart from this season with Liverpool. But I feel like that's a cycle situation, and Ferguson's gone through it as well, and Klopp's been there a long time, so they're well overdue. But the consistencies and the application never really drops off from their team, and that's because their managers are always feeding. And we joke about it after the game, and you see Sky Sports panning with the camera, and it goes close to Pep and Klopp, and they're still feeding tactical instructions. Or we talk about some of the silly excuses they make in interviews, instead of throwing their players under the bus, and really heavily criticizing them in public. They tend to make really absurd excuses. Klopp will say the craziest of crap just to keep his players under the radar. And again, it's experience, which is one thing, but it's also, maybe they're not, of course they love the clubs they're at, but they're not so emotionally attached where it's not going to affect them so much, where they can actually remain in a position of objectivity, where they can be like, right, screw this shit, we're going to get back into it. Well, you know what I mean? Just go again kind of thing. And it's not going to consume them as much. Do you think Reece James should have played? I think what's really good about the first lineup from Tuchel is it's got our brains ticking. I'm already thinking, and again, this formation is not going to be consistent every game. We've spoken about it before. He can play 4-3-3. He can play 4-2-3-1. So don't expect this formation to be consistent. I think it was a very good, quick, short-term fix to a problem of, we're not playing well, and I need to get a result in my first game, and I've only had 24 hours. However, we've started, the brains are already ticking about Reece James. Can he play right-sided centre-back? Can he move into midfield like Aspie did under Conte? Can he make those deep, crosses in the channel, the way Aspie used to do from Morata? We're getting the best of both worlds, because he can cross, but he can also step into midfield. He's played centre-back in the youth. The brains are ticking again. Do you know what I mean? We're getting fresh ideas, and I'm starting to think about things that we never even thought was possible, with Hudson-Odoi playing right wing back, who we're going to get onto in a sec. To quickly fly through more of these, guys, let's not get too gassed. There we go. That's what I wanted to. Let's not get too gassed. He's the same manager who got sacked from Dortmund and PSG. I mean, I don't want to use those as points, because every manager gets sacked. Every manager gets sacked. Yeah. That's inevitable. That's part of the job. No matter what manager, most of them get sacked. Some of them walk away and whatnot in rare circumstances. But getting sacked is not a bad thing. That just says that your time is up, but your work that you've done still stands. So I'm not going to use those points really too much against him in terms of him being sacked. I mean, we know that he does fall out with boards, which is going to be interesting to see if he does it with our board. I'm sure at some point there will be something that goes on. But Thor with the hammer, keeping it very, very ruthless. I love it. Lee here says, can you imagine when he knows his best 11? Like I said, I don't know if he's going to have a quote unquote best 11. I think we're going to see a lot of rotation. I think we're going to see a lot of adaptation, like Younes said as well, to games. So again, the ideas and principles that we have in our head, we have to change. And this is something the fan base has always struggled with, is when we went from Sarri to Lampard, we didn't take away the Sarri principles and then adapt to Lampard as quickly as we should have, probably, to say, right, these are the new objectives, these are the new principles, these are the new expectations, these are the new also a different man with different, experiences, and that we need to apply to him. What is his best formation that he could possibly be putting out, and what is he most equipped to do? And again, we need to get out of that Lampard, and we need to move to Tuchel. Do you know what I mean?
I think he'll have a core, at least. I think he'll have a core. If you look at Tuchel at PSG, for example, there were players there that were fitting into multiple systems and multiple formations, like a Verratti, for example, who's always there. Marquinhos always playing. Neymar and Mbappe probably have to play. But there's always a core. So I think we're going to see a couple of names that will appear more times than others, but you will see rotation. One thing that I want to say about Tuchel yesterday is he went with a back three, and he did say after the game that he went with a back three because of Wolves, to base it on the way that he expected Wolves to play. Okay. And that it won't always be the case that we are going to stick with that back three. He only done it because he wanted stability and security at the back with 2 6s to help, obviously, pack out the numbers in midfield. He said only done that because he knew Wolves had a dangerous counter-attack. So in that short amount of time, he's already understood quite a bit about Wolves. That's what gets me buzzing. He's based his entire game on one training session, knowing how Wolves are going to set up. It's really, really good to see. So that is going to change. It's not going to be a back three every week. You're going to see multiple formations, but I think the way of playing and the way that he gets that message across in training, the complex situations that he puts the players under in training, because he did say when he trains his players, he gets all of them to be put under very, very complex situations and then allows them the freedom to find a solution. He doesn't tell them, you got to do this or do that. Find the solution. I'll give you that freedom to find a solution, because he even said, when you're in a game, I'm not going to be the one to tell you what to do in that situation when you're playing in the middle of a game. You got to find it yourself. So I have to give you that freedom. Maybe you're going to come up with something that I didn't think about. So that's very, very good to hear. And I think that's going to apply to multiple games, top ability teams, City, Liverpool, Spurs, and even the smaller ones like your Burnleys, like your Sheffield Uniteds and all of them. It's going to apply across the board. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he always switches up, but he will switch up. It's never going to be the same thing every week.
It would be lovely if he combined, and this is really the dream scenario, if he combines everything, the best qualities of the last 3 managers that we've had, and brings it together. We speak about Lampard and how he was brilliant in the media in his first year and a bit before things got sour, but he was very good in the media. Tuchel's looking very good in the media on his first day. Sarri, again, very much wants to play attacking football, very systematic, drilled the team, and he said that he's gonna make sure that they don't just go out and play with complete freedom, and he's gonna make sure he directs the young players into a mold, but then also, like you said, Younes, give them the freedom to find solutions, which is what we want to see as well. We don't want to see I think out of the 3 managers that have just gone, I wouldn't say none of them were all perfect for Chelsea due to different reasons. And I think Sarri was at times hindering players in terms of, got the best out of maybe Hazard with a great season, but Kovacic didn't really have the freedom to find solutions, if you're putting it like that. And then Conte with the back 3 and, the stability and the, let's be real, the passion on the sidelines as well. That would be great. That's something that we kind of lacked recently. That would be great if he can, because that's going to help him resonate with the fans. Let's be real, that's very important. If he is very energetic on the sideline, and when we score goals, he's diving into the crowd and hugging people, that is just going to create emotions that get the fans on side, 100%. If I could give you the rule book of going to Chelsea and trying to get the fans on side at Stamford Bridge, when Chelsea score, dive into the crowd. Very important. We talk about tactics, boys, and we talk about all of this stuff.
True.
It's not important. Dive into the crowd. Make
passion
sure
merchants. Passion.
That's what makes you Chelsea, man. That's the way. Just dive in.
Disability section. You have to get ruthless sometimes. Head first. Do you know what I mean? Just really get in there and make sure that you're giving everybody a hug. Make sure that it's very passionate. You can't just be standing there. And I'm being deadly serious. If you want to make it at Chelsea, that is very important. Being very serious. I've been to the ground, people. More questions coming in. Wendell here. He says, we are still missing the complete elite level striker. Like I said, we don't want to make excuses. This team is good enough to make top 4. And you say, will Tuchel be sacked if he doesn't make top 4? Obviously, I want to get everyone's opinion on this. There's been some rivals joking about and saying that he will be sacked if we don't get top 4. Personally, I think it would be a disgrace. Because when you come in mid-season, you're really just trying to fix everything that's broken, and you don't have the full season, you don't have the transfer window, you don't have the preseason, you don't have anything. You're just going headfirst in. Of course, I think he can make top 4. I want him to make top 4, but if he finishes 5th, 6th, he 100% should get next season to sort it out. And also, it'd be great if he can go on the run in the FA Cup. I mean, does anybody disagree? Anybody feeling ruthless?
Hey,
no, 100%. You know, I'll go first, and then I'll let Younes sort of take it out. I was going to say that I think top 4 is obviously one of the objectives. He would have known coming into it that, you know, obviously we're not that far away. You know, top 4 would definitely be an objective. Going beyond Atletico Madrid in the Champions League will definitely be one of the objectives, and I'm confident now that we could possibly do that as well. And if the FA Cup, as you were sort of alluding to, Matisse, that's definitely part of the objective. But I don't think that's a do or die. Like, if you don't win the FA Cup, you're going to get sacked. I don't think that'll be a big one. The whole thing about the top 4, what I would like to, the caveat that I would like to say is, if he misses out on top 4 by a point, so I think it all comes down to the point section. If he misses out by a point, fair enough. But if he misses out by a long margin, don't be surprised if Mr. Roman turns the reset button again and goes, Nigels, let's start this party.
Can you imagine?
I'm going to give you a clean slate, new season, pre-season, the lot, because my man Tuchel, you know, he couldn't get me top 4 with the kind of players that we have.
And by the way, he's only on an 18-month contract, and we speak about...
Yeah, and look, man, don't be surprised if he doesn't see that whole thing out. So he knows that, though. Like, I'm pretty sure Tuchel knows this as well, that, you know, he did not come to this team to be, let's say, a 5th by a 10-point gap. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
As I said, you can be 5th, but it's got to be a 1-point gap or a 2-point gap that you are almost there. Because from here, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you. Getting top 4 will be very tough. But that's the challenge I think Roman has given to Tuchel, because he's experienced. You know what I mean? Like, you're an experienced coach. You've got that backroom stuff that has, as Younes was saying, the analytics and the people, you know, that should give you the knowledge in the midfield and defense and whatnot. So, and you've got the players, and we've already seen the foundation. And I've seen some comments here saying, guys getting excited about a 0-0 draw. I'm not getting excited about a 0-0 draw. What I'm getting excited about is the foundation that Tuchel has started to create. That's what I'm getting excited about. I don't care about the 0-0, because at the end of the day, we want to win. So, you know, from here on, you want to see progressive improvements week in, week out.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the chat are agreeing with you. You know, don't be surprised, and the handshake emojis there. Do you know what I mean? They're like, yeah, that's Roman. And Younes, you've got something to address here. He says Alonso will be needed, Younes, from our king. So yeah, Younes, take it away.
I'm going to nick something from Miz here. Don't be surprised.
Oh, God.
Don't be surprised. No, honestly, like, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with anyone being in the team now, because, as you said earlier on, Matisse, it's a different handbook now. You know, it's a different gaffer. So players that didn't look good under Lampard might actually fly under Tuchel. You never know. Everyone's got to be given the same opportunity now, including an Alonso. It's as simple as that. If Tuchel can get the best out of Alonso for the sake of the team, and it helps us and it gets us results, well, great, fantastic. That's what we're here for, you know.
Me and Dammy were saying yesterday, certain players we just still don't want to see. I'm not gonna lie, it's not even an agenda. It's just that I don't rate them, and it's very hard for me to see, you know, Alonso back in the team or Kepa back in the team. I'm just like, oh my God. But of course, if it means that we win games, 100%. But my God, it's difficult. It's difficult.
It's going to be. No, I mean, like an Alonso, for example, I honestly think, again, would only be incorporated if we're playing with a back 3, like yesterday, and if we need it to be a little bit more defensive. Like, instead of having a Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi as our wing backs, like we did in the last 15 minutes yesterday, well, if you want to play that same formation but be a little bit more defensive, you can stick Alonso there, because he is an in and out wing back, you know, not a winger. So. Yeah, as I said, each of these players that we thought wouldn't get a look in again might actually be integral players in the squad now, you know, where everyone has a moment where they're going to be called upon. So, yeah, I've got no problem with that. as long as there's no attitude problems. I don't want to see any attitude problems. That's the key. I don't want to see anything that's going to try and detriment the squad or the morale. Like, that's where you draw the line. And I think Tuchel's disciplined. Tuchel doesn't take any crap. We know this. Tuchel is very, that proper German siege mentality where, look, we're all going to be disciplined. We're all going to be serious. When it's time for jokes, it's time for jokes. But when it's time for work, it's time for work.
And I think the reason as well why we can even bring that up as a possibility is because Chilwell's been really poor lately, really poor. And he's getting quite a lot of stick. And with Chilwell, I mean, like I said, wasn't my first choice when he came in. Started well. Everyone knows Reguilon at Tottenham was really the person I ended up really pushing for. Again, with Chilwell when he came in, it was not just the ability and the potential, but also the characteristics that he brought to the team. Did really well in terms of uniting the squad for someone that was so new. Took his pictures. Was very bubbly character. However, that bubbly character is being called into question when he's being smiling after defeats and shaking the hands and the mentality. And you're fine with doing that if you're playing well. And then when you're not playing well, suddenly it doesn't look so good anymore. I mean, before we move on to Hudson-Odoi, what have you got? Any worries about Chilwell? Because the only reason why I'm going to bring it up is because it's been so heavily spoken about in the chat. I want to shout out. I've just seen Kafka's here. Shout out to Kafka's View. This guy, you guys would have seen in the timeline. He was the very first person that spoke out about Timo Werner, right? Well before any of us started sort of telling in the timeline about his first touch and how he's not really a complete striker. Kafka's probably started saying this at least a month before all of us started talking about it, and he copped so much heat, so much abuse from the whole fan base because it was ludicrous. Like, I'm talking down on Timo Werner, and here we are. Now we are all in the same page. We have started talking about Chilwell probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've started talking about it. Matisse, you have. I'm pretty sure Younes have touched on a little bit of Chilwell in his videos because we've started to see that this guy's playing the same way where we kind of didn't want him last season because of the way he was playing in Leicester. Yeah. Once again, Kafkas had said this about a month before that he started to see that this guy is not what we were gassing on about in the initial stages. So I think we're onto something here once again. Look, he's our player, and I want to back him, and I want to hope he comes back into form. But I think all of that initial talks, how people were gassing him, that he's the regen of the next Ashley Cole, this and that, I think we need to calm down. Ashley Cole was supreme. Do you know what I mean? He was supreme. Going forward, going back. Look at the footages that he has against Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo burned everyone in this league. Bar Ashley Cole. So, Chilwell, I haven't been impressed. I've got to be honest. He had that one opportunity today inside the box. He should have at least hit the target. Yep. I'm not going to say that. That's why we didn't win. But he needs to hit the target. When you're inside the box and you've been laid the ball so neatly, you got to hit the target there. And that, for me, I feel should have been a goal. But yeah. Yeah. Younes, how do you feel about him? Because obviously paid a lot of money for this guy. What was it, 50 million quid? People told us it was a bargain. And again, we speak about transfer targets. The transfer targets from last summer, it all looked brilliant at the time. It's not, it's not being rosy in terms of they're not all performing yet. Of course, they need time to adapt some of them. But Chilwell was one of them who doesn't. He was in league, so that was one of the plus points that we were told in terms of that's why we should get him over. And Alex Telles over Reguilon or over these other names is because he's in league. Tagliafico. Yeah, Tagliafico. He's not going to need to be, he's not going to need time. He's already in the league. He's young. Okay, well, this potentially is why the board kind of said, no, you can take your Declan Rice and scrap it over there. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to lie. The targets have not exactly, from the beginning, we talk about Silva and Mendy, but now really it's only Silva. And the rest of the targets are not really singing the same tune. What do you think about Chilwell now? Yeah, I mean, with Chilwell, I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt because he's still young. And I do think, and this goes for like a Mason Mount as well. These players that were getting in the team automatically under Lampard. I feel under Tuchel, the fact that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them is going to get them to the next level. Yeah. And
I'm looking forward to seeing how a Mount progresses even further than I think a lot of people are going to expect him to, and the same applies to Chilwell, because Chilwell was getting into the side every week, and we knew he was getting into the side every week because he can cross a ball, he can get stuck in, and we were relying on that overlapping and crossing the ball into the box. Chilwell was key for that. So yes, he's not been fantastic, he's not been immense, and the same goes for some of our signings. But now, as I've said, and it applies to everyone, it's a clean slate because Tuchel's come in. Now we get to see how these players are going to develop under Tuchel. And I think a Chilwell, much like a Mason Mount, for example, players that were getting in the side without much pressure are going to be taken to that next level. And I'm looking forward to see if Chilwell is going to be, a player that is going to push himself and take himself to that next level. We'll see. He's young, which is definitely working in his favor, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next 2-3 seasons where he's going to be, because he's young now, as I've said. But he has the potential. It's been underwhelming. I agree. It's been underwhelming. But it's not the worst thing in the world. We've had problems at left back for quite some time, and we know that. And with Chilwell, there's been a sense of it's better. It's better. It's not fantastic, but it's better than what we had. And now that Tuchel's here, much like all the other players, I think let's see what he can do with a Chilwell and how he's going to get him to progress. And then I think we can judge. But for now, on an individual basis, he does need to pick up. He does need to get better for sure.
Yeah, correct. And I agree with that. Really good point that you made in terms of we have to be patient, because now we have a new manager. Same goes for Timo Werner. I've definitely highlighted a lot of his weaknesses in the last few months, but we have a new manager now who, let's be honest, is an upgrade in terms of management, in terms of experience, in terms of coaching and player development, which is important as well. He's got more experience in player development. So I'm hoping that these players can improve under him. And like I said, then we can get our money's worth with some of the signings. The last 10 minutes I want to touch on, and people smash the likes because there's 1,300. You see what I'm talking about with this show? They know what it is,
How much?
1,300 guys. We are not going to talk until we see 1,000 likes. That's how it is. Let's get it to 1,000 likes.
Bro, you got to threaten them. I do it with my polls. I say to them, guys,
let's do it.
Don't share this down poll. We're going to lose the next game.
Honestly, I get so many messages throughout the week that, can't wait for all you can eat show on Matisse's channel. Guys, hit that like button. There we go. 474. That's it. 500. Lift it up. That's the way.
Yeah, man. They really, as I can see the weeks progressing with this show, it's just more and more people live at concurrent, and they really love this show. Like, again, shout out to my other shows. You guys got to step it up, you know what I mean? Because we got competitions, you know what I mean? And a favorite show. We got Battle of the North that kicked off this week, which is going to keep evolving. That's only the first week with it as well. So like I said, there'll be different things going on with that one. London's Carnage, which is always wild. We had to address Lee Gunner and Toby's antics as well yesterday as well in the first 10 minutes. But people as well, they're loving all the shows, but you guys are really riding out. Obviously, the Chelsea fans, you're riding out for this one. It's obviously predominantly a Chelsea
number one Chelsea show, man.
Bro, that's what we're aiming for. The ceiling for this show is to one day Miz comes over to London and we film it together in the same place. And it's a podcast, and it's all in the same place, and it's not a live stream where we're all together. Yeah. So I'm telling you, people, there's big aspirations. The final 7-8 minutes, I want to talk about Hudson-Odoi, because he is very much, it could be longer than that, who knows? But Hudson-Odoi, key to this. He's my key takeaway from yesterday. He seems revived. He seems energetic, and it's not just on the pitch, because he's been playing on the pitch very well for the last month and a half. The media responsibility that he got after the game, the way that he talks, his chest is out. We see the photos of him and Tuchel very much together. And dare I say it, very similar to Mount and Lampard. That relationship could be something quite very beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Because that is a player where we know his ceiling is ridiculously high. Younes, what have you made of? Obviously, there's quotes that have come out after the game about Hudson-Odoi. There's the images circulating. There's the interview after. There's everything, bro. What did you make of it?
Yeah, man, it's really refreshing. And I said it on the watch along yesterday. He looks like a senior. You know, he was playing like he was a full-on senior player, not someone that's coming from the academy, just someone that's been in the team for ages, and he's part of the lads, and he's doing amazing. But there seems to be a lot of admiration from Germany for Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Bayern Munich, we know how much they've been interested in him. They came after him multiple times. I think now that we got Tuchel, Bayern Munich are going to look at that and go, "Oh, flipping now, it's done. We're not getting him now. No chance." So they're probably gutted that we've got Tuchel. But yeah, he was a key yesterday, and there seems to be an element to his game that's been unlocked under. Well, even if it's just the first game under Tuchel, but definitely unlocked. And it goes back to what I was saying, where Tuchel allows the players to sort themselves out in certain situations. He'll give the guidance of positioning where they need to go, but in a certain situation, you've got the freedom to sort it out yourself. The point you made earlier on regarding Hudson-Odoi was... what was the point earlier on you made in regards to him taking... like
the responsibility how he was taking the media?
No, in game, where he was, being allowed to not just go forward, go wide all the time, but able to cut in.
Yeah, the freedom. And also the tracking back was very impressive. Do you know the second half?
And the tracking back.
He made that sprint back, and it was a very dangerous attack from them, and he managed to get on the other side of the defender and toe poke it.
Yeah. He saved the goal. He saved the goal. Honestly, he saved the goal.
And that comes with energy. That comes with that intent to do what's best for not just yourself but for the team, and to try and prove yourself. I think yesterday Hudson-Odoi done everything perfectly. He looked braver. He was taking those risks. There was something that he said yesterday after the game where we all knew that little dig at Lampard, if it was a little dig, but that way of being able to take a player on, but not just take a player on, get into those right spaces. And if you don't have the avenue to get past a player, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can come back and go central, link up, and not just feel like you have to express yourself, because that comes with pressure afterwards. And Tuchel's made it clear he's not going to be like that. He is going to allow you to sort the situation out for yourself and find a solution. And if it means not getting past that player because you can't see an avenue, well, cool, find another way. And Hudson-Odoi looked like he come out his shell yesterday, which was very, very good to see. Whether it was trying to take players on, which he did, and he got past a few times, whether it was coming central and getting involved, or switch inside, going wide, creating space for others to run into, he done it all. Hudson-Odoi, I think, is going to be a key player to watch under Tuchel, and his development, I think, is going to go faster than ever. So, fingers crossed for him. I'm very, very happy for him, and he looks good. He looks good.
Before I let Miz expand on that, fantastic comment. I was waiting for this, and I can't wait to debunk this nonsense, right? 36 crosses, correct. And let me tell you something. When you take a team out of surgery, right, who are stuck in their ways, look at the title of my old video, of yesterday's video. It takes time. Hold on, let me go and read it word for word. Let me not lie to you here. Hold on one second, because this was something that I saw in the TL, and I couldn't wait for someone to ask me about this. I couldn't wait. And I was like, when I get my hands on this theory, I'm going to wipe the floor with it. So let me get hold of this, right? It takes time is needed for Tuchel to teach, to tailor, and to toss out old habits. Yeah. Let that stick in your brain, sir. Okay. I know that comment was for, you tried to do something clever there, but like I said, we don't play those games. One training session, you're not expected to change the world. The players 100% are in old habits. Go and look at Tuchel in terms of the way, and this is, again, it wasn't my first choice for manager because Poch and Carlo were unavailable. But one thing I did see was a clip of him saying that he cut the corners off the training ground to stop spamming crosses. So let me be very clear. The one thing I do know about Tuchel is he is not trying to spam crosses. He does not want us to spam crosses. However, when you take a team that have predominantly spammed crosses and have gone out wide and kind of avoided central build-up and avoided central penetration when going out defenses, and they've wanted to go wide all the time, no shit, that kind of continues in the first game after 1 hour training session. Of course, that is what the players are going to fall back onto. That is the old mechanisms in their head. And it's very similar to when we started last season and we was playing very similar football to what Sarri was playing, because again, the old mechanisms, the old habits, and it's very hard to get out of that. You don't just change just like that all of a sudden and just throw away old habits. We've spoken about it with individuals like Barkley and how they were unable to get out of their old ways, and it took them months and months. So Cute and clever, but we don't do that around here. Well done. Miz.
just on that, Red Pill, he's actually just... There was a funny comment straight after that.
I will do that, by the way. If you come into my comment section on some madness, I will draw you out. So don't ever try that again. We're trying to have a positive start to them. Don't try it, bro. Don't try it. I rate it.
Red Pill off the back of that was just saying that please don't kill me, guys. I do love your show. So I mean, don't take it otherwise. But this wasn't going off at you. I think it was just going off at that particular.
The ideology, because I don't like it. And again, it's not even something that you started. I feel like when people plant this notion in others' head on the timeline and it's big accounts, then everybody kind of is like, oh, that's a good idea. And I'm like, no. Go on, Miz.
Man, all right, going back to the whole Callum Hudson Odoi, guys, I tweeted earlier today, straight after the match, I think I said, lots of stuff have been saying that, we brought in Thomas Tuchel, or we've been linked with German managers because of to get the best out of Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. I honestly think Thomas Tuchel is probably more excited to work with Callum Hudson Odoi than any of those two other German players. I think, and this is what I tweeted, that for some reason in Germany and Bayern Munich, they like the style that Callum plays. They love the skill set that Callum has. For some reason, they really admire that. They really adore that. And you can see it already, the way Tuchel, puts his arm around Callum Hudson Odoi, gives him instructions. He's so he's so close to him, and in talking to him, it's like as if he's dreamt of having a player like this so that he can do all these things in the wings and whatnot, and manipulate the style with this kind of player. So, and I think what really, really sold me of this whole thing was, as we've already mentioned, the way Callum Hudson-Odoi spoke at the end of the match. I've never, ever heard him speak like that, because every time he spoke before, whatever the little moment that he spoke, I thought he was just an immature, 20-year-old and, just talking like a 20-year-old. Yesterday, honestly, he spoke like a pro. He spoke like a pro. He was giving out tactical information. He was saying, this is what Tuchel wanted me to do. This is what he was training on, da-di-da-di-da. And I was impressed just by one training session. That's how much information you took. Wow. And
not even a full training session, 1 hour.
Not even a full. Boys, do you remember just a couple of weeks ago, I was saying that just because you could be a legend of the game and you could be a legendary midfielder, that doesn't mean you can teach someone to be a midfielder. Being the greatest student doesn't necessarily mean you will always become the greatest teacher. Do you know what I mean? So
it takes time.
It takes time. And I feel like someone like Tuchel, I don't really know his background. Was he ever a footballer? I'm not even sure. Was Thomas Tuchel a footballer?
He was, but he got injured. He got injured very early and couldn't really make it out of that. So he turned to coaching.
So you can already see that he wasn't the greatest student of the game, but he's got the knowledge to teach. He can implement that. He has the know-how how to get his information from his head and put it into your head and then let you run. So I'm excited, man, honestly, especially with this relationship, more than the whole Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, which I think that will come naturally, just being German, I suppose. But Callum Hudson Odoi, I think this guy will now, I believe in now. I don't think I always believed it, that Callum would become a world-class player. I believe in now that he probably will become a world-class player under Thomas Tuchel. It will take time, but he will get there.
And the key with Callum is that he's got a fire in his belly. He's got so much to prove to everyone, whether it be people at Chelsea, whether it be doubters on social media, whether it be the media.
Do you reckon his relationship with Frank was always good? I just get this feeling that I don't think he really appreciated at the end.
I don't know, because like I said, I always felt like he was underused. And like I said, he came out with all the right quotes about, Frank, teaching him all this kind of stuff. And 100%, I'll take that at face value. But for me, one thing with Callum is I always, and this is not just under Frank, I just felt like since he's been at Chelsea, Callum's always on the back foot. Callum's always having to do more than the average player to get into the team. Callum always needs to have 100% impact every time he's on the pitch. Callum always needs to do this. Callum always needs to do that. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, cool. I know Callum needs to improve, but there's other players in the lineup, like whether it be Willian and Pedro, or whether it be, Pulisic's form has been hit and miss recently as well. Or let's just keep it real, it's been miss. And And they're not having to do the things that you're demanding of Callum, that Callum needs to do to get in the team. That's where the inconsistency lies for me, and that's where I've been really disappointed. So I feel like Callum, no matter how much he does, he always needs to do more. And if he impacts a game, okay, cool, then you need to impact the next game. And it's like his ladder to get to the same ceiling is just, it's longer than everybody else's ladder, and he has to climb for a lot longer. And then when he plays against Leicester and he doesn't play well, everyone's on his back on social media. Well, you didn't play well, so this was unjustified. It's one start. He's never, I don't think he's got 3 starts in a row in the Premier League this season. No. I think he's only got a handful of starts. I think it was 2 or 3 starts in the Premier League or something absurd. So, you know, again, I always felt like he was on the back foot in comparison to everyone else. That's what I didn't like. Whether that's due to off the field antics previously or what, I don't know.
I feel like, sorry, with Callum, I feel like we've had it drilled into our heads under Lampard that it's 2 out of the 3 wingers that have to play. That's it. You know, and one has to sit on the bench. And you know, it's Pulisic, Ziyech. You know, Ziyech has just come to the club, massive player, Ajax, all of that. You're not going to bench him. Pulisic, we know how much of an influence he has. You're not going to bench him. Hudson-Odoi, he's got talent, you know, and you're hesitant. But we had it drilled into our heads that it has to be 2 out of the 3. It can never be all 3 because they're all wingers. Well, yesterday, Tuchel's first day on the job, and we have all 3 of them on the pitch at the same time. You know, and it tells us we can play in other ways. We can play in a way where all 3 of them are on the pitch. Now, bearing in mind, Ziyech did have, had a 50-50 game. There were good things, there were bad things. The bad things were that he probably looked a bit slow at times. But there were, for a good 8-9 minutes, I think it was, all 3 of them were on the pitch at the same time, with Ziyech in a bit more of a central role, alongside Kai Havertz. And you had Hudson-Odoi playing with Pulisic on the other wing. So you can play it in a way where all 3 of them are on the pitch. It's not one has to miss out. And this is what I think me included, everyone, we all thought it's got to be 2 of the 3. It's got to be 2 of the 3. This is where you need a manager that's going to come in and try and utilize the best that we have. And Hudson-Odoi deserves to play, absolutely. And I think he's going to be taken to the next level under Tuchel. And it wouldn't mean that someone has to miss out. We can use all of them at the same time.
For the final part, I do want to talk about Kai. I wasn't actually going to bring it up. I was going to leave it, but you guys are. I've never seen so many people
asking for it,
bro. I've never seen so many people demand one topic to be spoken about so much. I'm like, okay. I mean, hey, this is your show, people. Make sure you smash the like button, though. All right.
Yes.
We're going way extended now for you, man. The minutes. So let's make sure the like button's getting smashed. We'll talk about Kai Havertz. I mean, I was impressed at times. I thought he had moments. He was a moments player yesterday where I saw glimpses of Kai Havertz that I wanted to see. There was a surging run. There was obviously the last minute header that nearly went in, and God Almighty, if that had gone into the net, that would have been beautiful. Pandemonium.
It was
going into the top corner, and then it just got deflected. And I was like, oh my God, the pain. But I have Kai Havertz was probably, out of everyone after Thiago Silva, probably my favorite signing in terms of ceiling. So Kai is the player that I feel like we have got so. You know, the other ones, you know, I think good coaching, we can get something out of them, but I've always had little doubts about parts of their game. Kai is the one that unanimously I was just like, nope, this is a baller. And I know his mannerisms annoy people at times and whatnot, but I just think there's the fundamentals. He's got everything that I look for in a modern day midfielder. And I think if someone can tap into him correctly, and 100% he needs tapping into, seriously, because, you know, there's moments where he's not in the game, or he's getting shrugged off the ball easily, and he's getting bodied, as they say on FT. Do you know what I mean? But he does need that arm around the shoulder, or I don't know, tough love, but he needs to be slapped in the face and be like, yo, let's go and get this bread. Do you know what I mean? We're hunting now. You know what I mean? This is no more games. You're in the Premier League. We want to see the top Kai Havertz now. And I mean, Younes, what did you make of his performance? Because for me, it's just there's so much hope for this player and what he can become, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt yesterday was at least a step in the right direction. You know, we talk about his lack of intensity and how he sometimes comes across as, well, I don't want to say lazy, but he can take a bit too much time on the ball. He can easily lose possession. As you said, he can get bodied. You know, yesterday, which was good to see, he ran the most out of everyone on the pitch. I think 11.5 kilometers he ran yesterday or something. So that's good. And he looked comfortable. There were times during that game where you could see he was getting the ball and he was taking that risk to try and get past players. He was really initiating his presence in the middle. And under Lampard, there were times where he just looked so hesitant. He looked hesitant. He just looked like he didn't know what to do, what was around him. He got the ball, he's like, oh my God, what do I do? That's the impression you kind of got. But yesterday, it was free-flowing. He looked, as I've said, he looked like he was getting into those right spaces. He was moving a lot more than we've seen him play under Lampard in some of the last few games, at least. So it's a step in the right direction. And if you're asking for a manager that knows, especially about a Havertz and a Werner, and he's already admitted this, Tuchel come out and said when he was talking about all those players individually, he mentioned the fact that he knows about Havertz and Timo Werner very well already. So, yeah, you speak about ceiling and the potential is really high. I think Havertz will go to the next level. I think we're going to see him be used in the correct way, because there was a lot of criticism in the way that Havertz was not being used correctly. And I think under Tuchel, I think he'll be used correctly. So, yeah, we'll see in the next few games and how he does, especially if he's a little bit more offensive and he doesn't have that much responsibility defending. That's where he's more comfortable. So I'm fully looking forward to seeing how far he can take himself, because as you said, the ceiling's high, the potential's high. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I've got full faith that he's going to come good.
Miz, how do you feel? Obviously, we've got Dammy in the chat here saying finally smiling. Injection emojis. The grand Dam, shout out you, bro. Miz, how are you feeling?
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of pretty much what both you guys have said in the sense. I think the first half, the first probably 10 to 15 minutes, I did tweet out and say, come on, Kai, you can't be casually giving that ball away, or you can't be so casual with the ball where you just get pushed over. As the game continued on, as the half continued on, he got into the game a lot more, and the second half he was buzzing even more. I think it's that thing what you just said, Matisse, that someone just needs to go up to him and say, wake up. Like, we're in a game. Like, you got to be from minute one. You got to be on. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be making two mistakes, then realizing, oh, holy crap! Like, oh, I'm in a game. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be on the go from the minute one. Do you know what I mean? So, we can see once he gets into the game, his passing comes into the frame, his movement comes into the frame. As Younes has already mentioned, he ran the most, which is crazy. It doesn't even look like that, but he ran the most. So, these are the qualities that he has. And I think, under Tuchel, he will definitely tap into all of that. And, I'm sure he'll also become a very, very integral part of this whole team. It was really good to see that he was spending a lot more time. As Matisse, you've always said that you want to see him more in the final third area. He was trying to spend a lot more time there, as opposed to when under Frank Lampard, he was dropping deep a lot and trying to link up and build up play, which I don't think necessarily that's his game, where he drops deep and he tries to build things up. He wants to be more further up, where maybe a Ziyech finds him and then he does his madness up front, alongside of Werner perhaps, or even a Tammy Abraham. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, man. It'll be interesting to see how.
You see, during the game, there was that one moment where he took the ball. So just a bit more offensive from the center circle, but he got the ball and he just thought, I'm going to run with this, and he went past like three man. He did.
And that's the license that he has, and
exactly.
It's kind of like Lampard, where I want him to play the role Lampard did it, where he actually got into the box. Where you speak about him getting into the final third, I have no problem with him playing in 4-3-3 or whatever formation Tuchel wants to put him in. But you want to see, hopefully, in the next coming months, where he has the license to make those Loftus-Cheek type strides when he was doing it. Or those moments where he gets into the box and he's winning those headers when the crosses come in, or he's taking some shots from outside the area. Because for me, fundamentally, he's got everything. So I'm looking for these things, and I'm looking for contributions in terms of goals and output as well, because I think he's a player that can contribute there. We talk about the strikers not being perfect as well. The whole point of signing Kai, signing Ziyech, we haven't seen a Ziyech long shot pop into the top corner like we did against Valencia.
He tried yesterday. He tried.
Yeah, but this is what we need. Do you know what I mean? It's all good seeing it on the YouTube comps, and we all get, as I like to say, frothy, screeching and screaming about it. Do you know what I mean? As you guys clipped me up with Mickey Mouse back in the day, now it's Saeed's turn. I'm going to give it to him on Big Six on Friday, 100%. Trust.
Bro, hammer him, bro. He deserves it.
But it's all good seeing it on YouTube. I need to see some of it now. Do you know what I mean? I need to see some long shots. I need to see all of that now. But people,
by the way, just quickly.
Just
quickly. Well, I think it was Havertz that set up the Chilwell shot, right? Wasn't it him cutting through and then laying it back for Chilwell, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it might have been Havertz
It
that
was.
set up Chilwell. So
It was, because I said it would have been a Havertz assist had he scored that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. Yeah.
People, like I said, do you know what? Yeah, what I've clocked is that the longer we go on, the more of you just gather and you keep asking more questions, trying to extend the show even longer. But I see what you're doing. You ain't fooling nobody. Do you know what I mean? I see the Gilmore question, but we're gonna leave it for next week, because if next week Gilmore's not at the club, then we'll be able to summarize the whole situation a lot better. There's no point talking about Gilmore going on loan and he never actually goes on loan.
smash that like button, man. Smash it right now.
it,
You don't want to see this. You don't want to see this, man. You don't want to see that. Hit that like button. I want 1,000 likes right now, man. Straight away.
Smash it, people.
I'm gonna
like
bully you guys like Rudiger.
We're going to wrap up the show. We're going to be back next week, and we had an emergency show at the earlier in the week as well. So if you haven't seen that and you want more of this content, because a lot of you are gathering around, and there was a show when Tuchel was appointed. I got the boys together for an emergency episode. But like I said, people, we'll be back next week. I know you guys love the show, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It can't last forever. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you go and subscribe to Younes Talks Football. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm sure you already are. I do this every week. I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to keep saying it. I am. Because I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to get a kick out of it.
There will be a day, though, Matisse. There will be a day
I'm loving it.
They surpass Younes. And that will be the day where Younes gets
mate. I have to be like, hey, I'm sure you guys already subscribed to Matisse.
Nah, that's not going to happen. One thing I'm certain of, is I'm not going to be surpassing Younes on YouTube. Younes is on a different grade. This brother makes a channel in the summer, and he's just like that. I'm like, yo, I'm not about that life. Do you know what I mean? I'm new here. No one knows who I am on this block. I'm reintroducing myself. Make sure you go and subscribe to Younes Talks Football. It is written clearly. You see how the delicacy of the artwork that we have done here for you. It is so baked. Do not even try and tell me you couldn't find him. It's clear as daisies. You see what I'm saying? The links will be after in the description as well when the video is processing. And Miz, talk to them, because I need you to promote, because like I said, you do have less subscribers, so I can push this. I don't feel like I'm helping Younes, but we have to get you on at least 5K. Let's do this now.
Let's do it.
No. Thank you guys. Heaps. Honestly, look, I'm not gonna lie. Every week I come in and Matisse obviously shouts me out, obviously Younes as well. And I leave this show and I see myself 150 subscribers up. So I do thank you, each and every one of you guys, for doing that. But more than anything, guys, I really enjoy the time here. I think the fan, like 1,000. I remember the first show, we probably had about 500 people, and now every show there's over 1,000 people rocking up. There's people messaging and saying, "I cannot wait for next week." Like people are waiting for us. I need you boys to understand how privileged we are. That people are waiting for us to talk just random stuff. So look, that's what I take pleasure out of all of this. So guys, thank you heaps, man. Honestly, thank you heaps.
Yeah, and guys, make sure you go and subscribe to the other side of the coin. It's why in the intro I just stamped these guys' names on the thing, because I just knew, bro. I knew it. I just had a feeling. You know what I mean? I got a feeling. You know what I mean? It was one of those moments in the shower you just start singing. You're like, you know what it is. You know it's gonna be good. Younes, any final words for the people, bro?
No, it's been fun. I can't wait for next week, as all of you, I'm sure. Be sure to know that Tuchel gets officially unveiled in 40 minutes. So 1:30 p.m. his proper press conference, like proper.
Will he be on time?
I beg he's on time, just to make a point. But no, honestly, it's been fun. Thank you guys. I love this, and we'll go again next week.
People, you know what time it is. It's the end, and I will see you maybe as well. Like I said, I'm probably going to miss that initial. I'm going to have to catch up on it because I'm going on Rance's channel at 1 o'clock. Yes, I have to go and bully Rance, okay? He's been bullying me for months. It's my time now to shine. Sheffield United beat Manchester United yesterday, so if you want to see more of me, at 1 p.m. I'm going to be on Rance's channel and I'm going to absolutely dig into him. It's going to be beautiful.
That's going to be
That's very good.
And then I'm going to get on to Saeed and the Big Six on Friday.
It's your time. It's your time, because he went in on you the last few weeks. So take advantage.
I am very aware. So I'm going to be taking full advantage of my power. People, like I said, hopefully Tuchel is on time. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. In a bit, people. Much love and guidance.